I have learned so much through taking this class and through listening to some great speakers. Some of the most useful things that I took away was you have to understand your community, the community you're trying to change. If you don't understand it, how can you ever impact it in a positive way? And Larry James had a perfect example of this when he talked about Josephine and how he didn't speak Spanish, but she did, and she knew the system. And so he was able to recruit her and was able to help so many more people. And now they have neighbors helping their fellow neighbors get what they need. Another thing that a lot of our guest speakers talked about was the passion that you have to have. And Scott Orr said that you have to be passionate about what you do, but you also have to become an expert about what you do. When he talked about the adoption agency, he didn't know anything really about adopting children before, but he became an expert, and he became so passionate after placing his first child with a good home. And another thing that I really thought was very useful was when Jarita Howard said, you have to put your heart and soul into any job, pray for God's will, and He will show you new and amazing things. And I think this is so important, not only in starting a social enterprise, but starting a social enterprise as a Christian. We have to execute God's will for our lives, for the lives of the people we're trying to impact, and for our company. And without that, you won't ever be successful. Something I think that every social entrepreneur should know is you should know to not be afraid to ask for help. I know that I would not be able to do a lot of the books for my social enterprise if I ever start one, and I would have to ask for help, and I would have to put my pride aside for a little bit because without someone who's skilled in the finances, my company would never succeed, and that means that my mission would never succeed either. The biggest thing that I learned that surprised me was when we were talking about boards and how you have to be so intentional with picking your board members, because you have to be able to trust them, and you have to have them be able to challenge you because they're looking out for the good of your company and the good of your mission. And I think that that's hard because one day they could replace you or fire you, but you have to trust that you're picking the right people. Something that you could improve on, I guess, is I really enjoyed seeing the City Square facilities, and I really enjoyed walking through Fair Park. And I think that if we could see more of the nonprofits' facilities and not the operations, it would put it into perspective when they came and talked about it. So even if that meant going to see One Smart Cookie on Dead Day before we got out for Christmas break, I think that would have been really cool to put into perspective just how they're operating and where they're working from. But this has been one of my favorite classes, and I learned so much in this 1 week that I think I've learned more than some of my semester-long classes. So it's been a joy, and I've really loved this class.